village somewhere. And we didn't have a clue, Here I was, about 25 or 6, 7, something like that. Nothing could happen. We'll get this out of here. We finally did. Mother went to her school in Phillipsburg.
Yeah.
Went to the room, found the desk, was still there. Now, we went back when Granny was in her 60s, I think.
Yeah.
I've forgotten. Well, I could look it up, but that's enough. That gives you the picture. And we dressed to the nines. In those days, when you traveled, I got pictures, and we've got our hats on and our coats and our gloves and our this and that. And we're sitting in the car, but we didn't want to wrinkle anything too much. And so Mother's going through the school with her lovely suit and her hat and no one travels like that anymore.
Yeah.
But we used to get on the airplanes, done to the nines.
Well, that was a big deal getting on the airplanes back then. That was first class.
Tootin'. Now I wish some of them would clean it up a little, depending who you're sitting next to or around. So what else do you need?
Oh, straight to the point. Augusta was an only child, raised, and she spent the rest of her life in Seattle.
Yes.
Okay. Now, growing up, she grew up in Seattle. Who did she meet? Like, who was your father? Your father is Leonard. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yeah.
How do you know how they met?
My thinking is, they're both Catholic. Martin is Catholic and Julia is Protestant, but Julia and Martin was a sometimes Catholic, and as she was growing up, there was no question that she went to Broadway High School. I don't know why she didn't go to Holy Names or Immaculate. It might have been the only other Catholic schools in that area. Oh no, St. Mary's was down there. Now, I don't know why they didn't go. She didn't go there, but she came all the way up to, because he lived there on Jackson Street, to Broadway. I don't know how she got there. But Julia saw that Granny went to Sunday Mass. There was she's your father's child. A lot of that father's child go the way the father was supposed to go. So she was Catholic. Okay, how did she meet Leonard? The Knights of Columbus was a club in town, been around, and it's a church club. And they had a building down there on Union Street, and of course there were dances and the like. What else did you do? You danced, and the waltz and the two-step and then that business. And I'm sure that she went there. The way I understand, that's where they met. Perfect
the dance
place,
Okay.
Yeah. And he had come from Detroit, the oldest, out, I don't know, adventure. I never got that picture, but that had to be an adventure to come from Detroit.
I'd imagine, yeah.
And so he was here, and there was some men got together with and roomed together, and they had a big house. It's down there on Capitol Hill, actually. It's quite up into the wilderness, but anyway, it was there, and the guys were there, and they'd come to the dance, and of course the ladies, I guess that was allowed. Probably the ladies came with their mothers in those days, but I don't know, maybe
so they
were getting more modernized and came by themselves. I don't know. You didn't have to apparently come with a date. So it's where I assume they met.
Yeah.
That's my best thinking.
And he was a Savage.
He was Savage.
Leonard Savage.
Yes.
And he had there was, how many brothers and sisters did he have?
Oh God, they go on forever. He's one of 7. He's the eldest. And then there's
Leonard, Herbert. Is that correct?
Albert, I thought his name is. I'm not sure of that.
Well, I've got a Leonard Ronald Savage, a Herbert Edward Savage, born in Michigan.
Okay.
Then I've got a Lucille F. Savage that was born in 1887 in Michigan. Mary, I can't pronounce her middle name.
Mary Victoria.
Is it Victoria?
Yeah,
Oh, it's then I'll have to get this corrected. It's a different. But Mary Savage. Then
Coucy, we called her Coucy.
Coucy, and then Beatrice Savage.
Yeah.
Margaret Savage.
Now, the nun.
And Adeline. Adeline Savage.
Adelaide.
Adelaide?
No, Adeline.
Adeline. Okay. And they're all born. According to this, they're all born in Michigan.
Yes.
And then Martin. And then we get down to Martin Costello. I had a friend of mine look up some of our family tree, and go back as far as she could with. She got to a point where we get to Ireland, and she has Tobin, but she has the father first name unknown, and then the wife of Tobin, his wife, who's also born in Ireland. She doesn't have she can't find her name. So first name unknown, last name unknown. But we've got some bits. We have Robert E. Tobin, born 1859 in Massachusetts, resided in Boston for a while, and then Charles McKenzie.
Boston all the time.
Yeah. A lot of Boston. Have you been back? Do we have any family still in Boston that you know of?
Gosh, they go on and on forever. Yes,
yeah.
Daddy and I went back because we went to a convention, airport manager, and so it was perfect. We dropped in.
Yeah.
And they were just all over the place because my husband's father was the eldest of 9.
Pops was the
Pops.
Was the eldest of 9.
Well, Pop's dad.
Oh, Pop's dad. Oh, your father-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Pop's
eldest
dad
of 9.
was.
And I don't know how they go down, but we met. There was a Dick there, and
let's
on
see.
and on and on.
Because wasn't Pops's mom's side of the family was their last name was Hopkins?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Okay. Because we found them, but for the Tobins, so going way back, Robert E. Tobin, that's born in Massachusetts, married Margaret Elizabeth McKenzie.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Good.
Then they had Robert Edward Tobin
Yeah.
in 1884, followed by Grace Tobin, or Gracie Tobin,
Grace.
1886. Charles Patrick Joseph Tobin.
Oh,
In
Grace is older than Charles. I didn't know that. That's where we get Jenna from.
Well, actually, no. Now I'm looking at this. It says Grace was born October 1886, and Charles was born October 5th, 1886. So there must be an error here, unless they were twins.
No.
So there must be an error on when they were born.
I always thought Charles was right behind Robert E.
Well, I'll have to check with my friend that found this info because since they're both born October 1886, which...
Gosh, maybe they were twins. I don't know.
Well, if it's possible.
Sure, yes, it sure as hell is.
But then we have Gertrude Tobin.
Yeah. Pictures of her.
Marguerite
Yeah.
Tobin, Richard Tobin, Marion Tobin, Helen Tobin, and then Walter Tobin, born in 1901.
Uh-huh.
And
is
the
there a Richard? Is there Richard there?
Yes, there's a Richard. Oh, I must have skipped him. I'm sorry. There is a Richard. 1894 in October. A lot of October births. Got October and
Go
September.
back 9 months. Let me see. Was it summer? Was it holidays?
It was. Well, if it was September, it was New Year's.
Oh. Well, cough, cough. And when you think of Tom being born on the 2nd of January, you can figure that one out real quick.
March.
Hooray! Spring.
Spring. I'm born in January as well, so in March.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You are January.
So is Shayla.
Both of you. Yeah.
Big families. That was pretty common?
Oh yeah. They didn't know what they were doing.
It was now. So okay. So we're getting a little off track. Let me pause this for a second.